Okay. Yes. Hello, Majid.
Yes, sir. I'm with you, sir.
Yeah, so it's good to have you.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon or good evening. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What department are you in?
This is about me, sir.
Physics,
Solid.
right?
Yes, sir. Solid state.
Oh, solid state. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I think we can start now. Let me
Yes, sir.
share my. So I'm sharing my screen. So today we are going to do visualization, and we are going to see how to plot bar charts or histograms or simple scatter plots. So I'm going to go here to my Anaconda. I think you can see my screen. Then I'll open an Anaconda prompt. And I'm going to move. It's taking time. My Anaconda prompt will come up. Then I'm going to move to a particular directory and launch from there. Okay, wait, man. CD URI. Okay. So I launch my Jupyter notebook from here. So it's going to connect to my browser and something will come up. And then, okay, it's starting. So if you like, you can just go here, start an Anaconda, and you can just start Jupyter Notebook directly. Okay. So you can do that. You can start Jupyter Notebook directly. So in this case, I started with a prompt, and it's now going to take me to, it should open a browser for me. They didn't open a browser yet. Yeah, so if I'm patient, it will finish what it's doing. Yeah. So it opened this browser for me, and there are different files in it. And for you, you may not have any file, but it's fine. You can just start. So I want to open this one because I already prepared some things there. Okay. In the same folder, I have a file. Of course, I have this countries.csv, but I don't think we'll work on that today. But the one I have, which I think we'll work on, is this Titanic snippet.csv. So I think Taiwo should have sent the file Titanic underscore snippet.csv. If you don't have it, I can drop it in the chat. Let me see if I can copy it from here. And then you can download it. Sorry. So I want to get it and then give it to you. Then you can put it in the chat. So it's Titanic snippet. So I'll copy it and I'll put it in the chat. Okay, so you should be able to download it. For this exercise, you have to keep it in the same directory in which you'll be running your codes. Okay. Okay. So there's this pandas which I think I spoke about the last time. So there's pandas, and is a Python data analysis library. It has many functions already in it, and this will help us to do a lot of things that we need to get done. So the first thing is you import pandas. You can import it as PD. If you import it as PD, then you don't have to type pandas every time. So if you just say import pandas and you don't put as PD, everywhere you see PD here, you have to type pandas dot something, pandas. But because I've said import pandas as PD, then I don't have to put pandas every time. So I save typing 4 letters. So instead of typing PANDAS, I now type just PD. So it's a nickname for pandas. You can use any one that you want here, but I don't know. Traditionally now, many people just use PD for pandas, just like they use NP for NumPy, numerical Python. Okay. So DF is PD. Okay. So I import pandas as PD. Now to read CSV file, CSV is comma separated file. To read it, you just do PD dot read CSV, and then you put the name of the file. Okay. Once you read it, it will read it as a data frame, and then the data frame, it keeps it in this DF. So this DF, you can use any variable for it. It just holds the content of this CSV file. If instead of a CSV file, you have it as an Excel sheet, you can also read, you could have read DF is read, sorry, is PD.read underscore Excel. Okay. And then you can put the name of your Excel file, my Excel file. Dot XLSX, because that's the extension for Excel nowadays. Okay, so I have this. So I could do this. Okay. So if it's in Excel, you read Excel file. If it's in pandas, if it's in CSV, you read CSV file. You just put the name like this. I don't think I have an Excel file there. Do I? No, I don't. Otherwise, I will have read it. Actually, there's a way I can get an Excel file. So you can try that. So if you look at the CSV file, I can open it for you. How do I make this bigger? No. If you look at the CSV file, let's do it. So the name of the file is Titanic. Okay. So it's just a list of data that is separated by comma. So that's what the C in CSV is, comma separated variables. So the first thing is the passenger ID. So the first passenger ID is 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if you can see this because it's tiny. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Sorry. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Font. Let's try 28. Okay. So this is what is in the CSV file. There's passenger ID, so 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10. Then there's a comma, then survived. So Titanic is a ship that sank, I think, in the 1900s. So they thought it could never sink. They said only God, one man said only God can sink the ship, but the ship sank. So the passenger ID, we have this. Then whether they survived or not. If they survived, you have a 1. If they didn't survive, you have a 0. That's the second thing. Okay. Then I think P class is the passenger class. Like you can sit in first class or second class or third class. So I think and then the next thing is the name. So Mr. Owen Harris Brown, he was in third class. Mrs. John Bradley Cummings was in first class. Okay. And she survived. So they have the data like that. And then the name of the class, sex, whether it's male or female, the age of the person, whether the person has a sibling or a spouse. This is this next one. So it's 1 for sibling, or spouse, 0 if you're alone. I don't remember what this PH is. And then this, I think, is maybe their ticket number. And then how much they paid, which cabin they were in. And I think embarked, I don't remember. Maybe it's whether they embarked on a trip or they did not. I don't remember what it is. Okay, so this is the data and they are just separated by commas. Okay. So for instance, for Mr. Allen, the fare is 8.05, but they don't know, we don't have the cabin number. Okay. So there's a comma and then there's nothing, there's a comma. Okay. Then S is there. And then for Mr. Moran also, the person is male, that's the sex. The age, we don't know the age. Okay. So it's not filled in. So the data is not clean. It's not like you have information for everything. Okay. So this data, we are going to read it as a pandas data file. So it's comma separated. You can create your own. You can also create an Excel file. Okay. So let's read it as a pandas data file. So this is this line. I'll comment this out. So we read it as a pandas data file. So df is pd. So pd is pandas because we imported pandas as pd. And then we read a CSV file, and the name of the CSV file will give them. And now I'll just do shift enter, and it will read this pandas file. Okay. If you want to know whether it read it, you can print the head. Okay. In Jupyter, if you just do df.head, it will print the head for you. So you don't have to put print. But if you like, you can put print df.head. So it's going to print. If you just put df.head, it goes to print the first 5 lines of your file. Okay. So this is what it has done here. It has printed the first 5 lines of my file. This first column is not part of my file. It's something that Pandas adds to it to guide you. The next one is the passenger ID. The next one is whether the person survived or not. The passenger class is here. Then this slash tells you it's continuing another line. Then the name of the passenger, the sex, the age, whether the sibling or spouse was together with them. And then this slash tells you it's continuing on another line also. And then it gives you the information. If you want to print only the first 2 lines, you put a 2 here. And if you do that, it will just print the first 2. If you want to print the first 7, you put a 7 here. It will print the first 7. Okay. If you don't put anything by default, it will print the first 5. So if you don't put anything in head, it will print the first 5. Okay. So this is how you do to print the, this file. So this file, I can write it to another file. So I can write it instead of, like I've read it now, I can write it to an Excel file so that I can use the Excel file for something else. Okay. But the next thing I want us to do for this file is to select different things that we want. So for instance, what I want to do next is to select all the female passengers. Okay. So if the sex is female, like Mrs. John Bradley is female, I want to select that. Miss Lina Häkkinen is female, I want to select. Mrs. Jacques Outrel is female, I want to select that. Mr. William Henry Allen is male, I don't want to select that. Okay. So what you can do is, I'm going to use this thing called lock. Okay. Before I do that, I'll tell you what lock does, and then we are going to use it. Okay. What lock does is it helps you to choose items in the data file, just the same way that you will use an array. Okay. So there's lock and there's ilock. Okay, I'll explain both of them. Okay, and there's df.ilock. Ilock is integer location. Okay, so if you df ilock, you can do it as if you are dealing with an array. You can do df.ilock. You can do row 1. Okay, the row starts from 0, so it's row 0, row 1, row 2. So I can do ilock 2, comma, and then I can do 3. This will be the 3rd column. Sorry, the 4th column. So it will be 2, 3 like this, or let's do 2, 4. 2, 4 will be row 2. So there's row 0, there's row 1, there's row 2. And then 4 will be column 4. There's column 0, column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. So I can print this item. Okay. So iLock will allow you to use integers in these places to print a particular item. Okay. So I can say print df.ilock, the data frame, and I do iLock. Okay. So it says female. So you can go back to the data and you can see that. Yeah, let me do this one. You can go back to the data and see that row 2 is this. The passenger ID is 3. Survived is 1. P class is 3. And is this one. Okay. So column 4. Column 0 is passenger ID. Column 2 is survived. Column 3 is P class. No, column 0 is passenger ID. Column 1 is survived. Column 2 is P class. Column 3 is name. And column 4 is sex. Okay. So in that case, it printed the item that is row 2. So 0, 1, 2. And column 4. And that is this person. This item, female. Okay. If I wanted it to print the name, I can do column 3. Okay. And then it will print the name. Bless me. Sorry, I have a cold. Yeah. So if you wanted it to print the name, you can, yeah. So the name is on column 3. So I'll do 3. And it printed the name Akin-Ojo Miss Liner. What if, it's difficult to remember all this. Column 0 is passenger ID. Column 1 is survive. Column 3 is P class. I may just remember the name of the columns. Okay. So if you just remember the name of the column, then you can use lock. Okay. Okay. You can use lock. Okay. With lock, you can use the name of the column that you're interested in. Okay. Instead of using an integer. So iLock is integer location, then lock is just the location using the column name. By the way, if I want to print everything, all the rows and column 3, so I want to print, this will print all the names. I can just print df.ilock. Okay. I open a bracket, I put colon. Colon means everything. Okay. If you like, is everything to everything. Because I didn't put anything here. Okay. I didn't put anything here for A. I didn't put anything for B. So if you don't put anything for B, it's going to go to the end of the file. If you don't put anything for A, it's going to start from the beginning of the file. So it's going to print all the rows. And if I do 3, it's going to print for me all the names. So all the rows, and it's going to print all the names. So let's go. Okay. So the first one it printed was Akin-Ojo Miss Liner. That was this one, print 2, 3. Then the next one, it prints all the rows, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10. And it prints column 3, which is the name. Okay. So you can do something like this. Then, like I said, what if I don't remember? I don't want to count to know that, oh, name is in column 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. It's too cumbersome to do that. So one thing I can do is, I'll show you what I can do with that. Okay. I can first ask pandas to tell me all the elements in the data frame. Sorry, all the columns that it has. Okay. Okay, so I can tell you to give me all the columns that it has. Okay, so I can just print df.columns. I think it's columns. Let's check. Yeah, so it gives you all the columns. The first one is passenger ID, then it's survived, and it's P class, his name, his sex, and all this. So all the columns are there. Okay? The next thing I can tell it to do is to say, I want this column that says name. Okay. So I want all the names for everybody. Okay. So in that case, I can do, okay. Okay. I can print df, okay, dot lock. So I want the location, I'll put colon. This will print all the rows. And then the name, I want this column that says name. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it there. I put it here. Sorry, I thought I copied it. Yeah, I'll copy it. It's better to copy and paste rather than to type it yourself. Okay. And then I close this, and then I close the print thing. So it's going to print all the rows, but for the column that says name. So if I do this, it prints all the rows for the column that says name. Okay. What if I want to print the column that says name and I want to know whether they survived or not? Okay. So I can do that by putting something. Okay, let's finish this one. So then whether they survived or not is something I want to print also. So I want to know for sure whether Miss Lina, sorry, whether she survived or not. So let's do this. Okay, this one what I had before. It will print all the names. Then the one I need next is I'm going to print the name, and then I want to print whether they survived or not. So I need to print two things: the name, and then whether they survived or not. I know I told you not. It's better to copy and paste. So but I typed it. Okay. Whether you use single quote or double quote doesn't matter. Okay. So it's going to print all the rows, and then it's going to print their names, and then it's going to print the one column to tell me whether they survived or not. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to close one parenthesis. This one. Okay. So I have this. So okay. So now I have their names, whether they survived or not. So Mr. Wayne Harris Brown did not survive. Mrs. John Bradley Cummins, she survived. Miss Lina Heikkinen, she survived. Okay, so you have all the data this way. Okay, what if I want to print okay. What if I want to print everyone who's a female? Okay. So what I first have to do is I first have to create an array that has true if you are female and false if you are not female. So the first thing I do is I create this array. Okay. What does this array do? So this is saying if you look in pandas.data frame, okay, for every row that is this colon, and for the column, sorry, that is this colon, and then for every column where the sex is given, if the sex is equal to female, it should create an array. So this will create an array. Okay. So once you do this, I have an array like this. So the 0th element is false because the person is not a female. Okay. The next one is true because the female. The next one is the one after that is true. And then it's false, is false, is false. If nothing is given, it's going to return false also. Because let's say the sex is missing, it's going to return false also. Okay, so now I have this array. Okay. And the array is an array that has true if you are female and has false if you are not female. Okay. So what can I do with the array? Okay. I can put the array, I can put this in a particular array. So I can say array 1. Let me see if I do it already. Oh, no, I didn't. Okay. So let's do it now. So I'm just going to say array 1 equals, okay. Ouch. So I say array 1 equals, and I'll put this in a bracket like this. You don't have to put it in a bracket. So this df.log blah blah equals female creates an array. But that array, I'm going to put it in this variable called arr1. Okay. So now I put it in arr1. Where do I have it? Yeah. So if I print arr1, it's going to give you exactly the array that we had before. Okay. It just gives you this. Okay. Now the next thing is I want to take only those things in df where array 1 is true. Okay. The one where array 1 is false, I don't want to do anything. Okay. Please give me a minute. Okay. So what I'm going to do with that is so this array 1, I'm going to put it in df, and I'm going to print all the places. So what I'll do there, okay, so I'm going to print df, but instead of specifying what I want to print in df, I just put array 1. So all the places where array 1 is true is going to print it for me. Okay. Okay. So there are only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. Passenger 1, passenger 2, passenger 3, passenger 8, passenger 9. They are the only ones that are female. Okay. So it's printing only those ones for me because I already created this array. And when this array element, when it's true, it's going to print it. When it's false, it's not going to print it. So this is another way to select. So I select now. So you see all the sex is female because I selected only the female people. Okay. What if I want to create an array where I don't want only the females, but I want the females that are above, say, 28 years of age. So I want this person, 38. I want this person, 25, 35. This person is 26. I don't want the person. This person is 27. No. This person is 14. No. I just want the people above 28 years of age. So this is Mrs. Cummins and Mrs. Utrell. Okay. So the way I can do that is, who can guess how I can do that? I can create another array, right? So I can create an array. Let's call it array 2. Okay, so I'll say array 2 equals, and I'm going to create where df is the age, right? And I want the age to be greater than 28. Okay. So if I print array 2, it's going to give me all the places where the age is greater than 28, both male and female. Okay. So array 2 is there. So if I print array 2, okay, you don't know it, but where the age is greater than 28 is the one that are true, and where it's less than 28 is the one that are false. Okay, but now I want the person to be a female and also the age to be above 28. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that here. Okay, sorry, because I already prepared this before. Okay. So I'm going to print. So I want DF. Okay. Before I just had array 1 there. Okay. But I want array 1 to be true. That means you have to be female. And then I also want array 2 to be true. Okay. So array 1 and array 2. Okay. So I'm going to select those that are female with array 1 and those that are greater than 28 with array 2. So if I print it, so you see it printed only for Mrs. Cummins and Mrs. Futro. They are female and their ages above 38. So, I'm sorry, above 28. So this is how you can select different aspects of what you want in the arrays. Okay. In this way, I just put everything together. I didn't create a separate array. Okay. And then what I've done here, okay, is the same. Okay. So you have the array and everything. Okay. Another thing you can do is you can use the group by. Okay. So you can group, in this case, I group them by sex. And for each sex, I find the age and I find the median of the age. Okay, if you want, you can find the average of the age. You can find something else, the maximum of the age, the minimum of the age. But group by, we group them by sex, and it will give you, and then, so group by here, it will group them by sex, and then I open this, that I want the age. Okay, I want the age, and I want to find the median age. Okay, so I do this group by. So the group by is one of the properties that you have with pandas. Okay, and if I do this, it gives me exactly this. It sorts it by sex, female and male, and it gives it the median age and the median age. If you want the mean, you can do the mean also. Actually, if you don't remember, you can do a tab. And if you do a tab, it should help you complete what you want. Sorry, a tab. Okay, it can give you max, it can give you mean, medium, mean, because I typed M already. So if I type S, maybe it can give you the size, the skew, the sort. I don't know, you can sort it, standard deviation, sum. Okay, so let's do the mean. So in this case, I just type M and I do tab, and it gives me the Jupyter gives me the different things I can do. So I want the mean. Okay. So it groups them by sex, and the mean for the women is 28. The mean for the men is 28.25. Okay. So this is a power of pandas. Let's do one more thing. So one more thing I'll do is the data that we have, where we have only the females and their age is greater than 28. Okay. So I'm going to put this data in a new data frame, which I call df2. So I do shift enter. Okay. So if I print this df2, okay, if I print df2, it's a data frame and it has only 2 rows for females that are greater than age 28. Okay. Now, if I want to write it to an Excel file, I can do that. Okay, I can write this data frame to an Excel file. So to do that, sorry. I'll do df2 dot to Excel. Okay, and I'll put the name Titanic underscore female underscore greater than 38. This is just a name that I gave to it, and then dot XLSX. Okay, so it's going to generate an Excel file for me. Yeah, so it's created an Excel file. So if I go back to look at my directory, let's look at my directory. You'll see that there's an Excel file there. Sorry. Yeah. So let's sort by date. Yeah, so there's this Titanic underscore female underscore GT38, and there's an Excel file, Microsoft Excel workbook. So if I double click it, you see it's exactly an Excel file. And it contains the information that I wanted it to contain. So you see, so you can create an Excel file from it. The name is this, the sex, the age, the ticket number, the fare, the cabin, and back. So I created that. Okay. Okay. So now we'll move on to how to plot data. So data visualization. For that, you need matplotlib. Okay. So if you're on PyDroid, you can do pip install matplotlib. So I'm going to put a comment here. So pip install matplotlib. Or you can just go to those three bars on your left, click it, and then go to pip. And then in pip, it will ask you which library. You say matplotlib. Okay, it will install it. You should have NumPy that we had before. So this two, I'm going to import them. If you already have an Anaconda, it's already installed. If you are using Google Colab, it's already there also. So you don't have to try to do it. So I import both of them. So the first thing I do is I just generate the random data. Okay. This does not matter. I just generate random data. In here, you don't have to use 5. You can use anything. But this one is going to. So let me do it first. Yeah. So this values. So this is going to generate for you 5 values. Okay. This np.random.rand generates random values. So it's going to generate 5 of them. Okay. And it generates a number between, in this case, I think it generates a number between 0 and 1. Okay. Yeah, between 0 and 1. Okay. And then I multiply the number by 10 because I want the number to be sizable. That's the only reason I multiply by 10. So this np.random.rand is a like function in NumPy. Okay. And this will generate 5 numbers for you in a list. In a NumPy array, sorry, not a list, NumPy array. And I multiply each of the numbers by 10. Values 2 will do the same, and I multiply each of the numbers by 10. But the numbers will be different because they're generated randomly. Okay. And then I created this, which is random, but I multiply each one by 500. Okay. The reason why I did this one here, you'll see it later, because we need this for the histogram. Okay. So you generated 5 numbers, multiply them by 500. Okay. So the first thing we do is we do a bar plot. Okay. What do you have when you have a bar plot? So in this case, because I know the numbers, okay. In a bar plot, what you have is you have, let me show you. Okay. So in a bar plot, what you essentially have is you have a or a name and then the value. Then you have another name and then the value. And then you have another name, the value. Another name, the value. Another name, the value. Okay. This is what you have in a bar chart. And what we want to do is we want to have A on the horizontal axis, and then the height will represent the value. Okay. Then I have B, then the height will be 8.3. I have C, the height will be 7.6, D 9.12, E 7.4. This is a good way to present data. Instead of putting data there and everybody has to read which numbers are there, okay, you can just put the numbers side by side, and everybody can see that A is larger than B, or in this case, B is larger than A, without having to read all these numbers. Okay, so when you're presenting, it's typically good to use pictures. Sometimes I'm too lazy, and what do? I just give them numbers, but it's usually better to present the data so that people can see visually what you're talking about. Okay, so let me go here. So here, the first thing I'm doing here is I generate the numbers randomly. Ideally, there won't be random numbers for you. It will be maybe the age of different groups of people, or the average age of different countries. You can put it there, or the amount of coal that are in different countries, amount of coal reserves that are in different countries. So you can put them in a table. So Nigeria, you put the coal reserve. The US, you put how much coal reserve they have, and then you can plot that kind of a data. Okay. I think this is a good exercise for us to do anyway, so we can do it. Okay. And then once you have the data, then you can use matplotlib to plot it. Okay. You can read up about this plot figure size 8.5. I think the row is size 8 and the column is size 5. Okay. And then to plot a bar chart, you do plt.bar. Okay. What name do you want on the horizontal axis is categories. Okay. And then the values of those things, you have it there. I think it has to be either a list or a numpy array. And then for each of them, I chose different colors: sky blue, light coral, light green, gold, orchid. Okay. So you can choose different colors or you can omit them. You can put a title, bar plot example. You can put an X label categories, Y label values. Okay. So when I run this one, it gave you this bar plot, which I should show. Yeah. So the data that you use is this. Let's do print values. Okay. The data that you use is this data. Remember, it's generated randomly. So each time I run it, it gives different values. So A is 4.6. So you see it's 4 point something. B is 0.46. So it's there. C is 8 point something. And then D and E. Okay. So we can use this, for instance. Now, let's say we want to, like I said, list the coal reserves in different countries. Okay, so let's try to see if we can get the data online. And then we'll try to plot. Okay, so I'll try to look at the coal reserve by country. I won't take all of them. I'll just take a few of them. You see, somebody has already done something here that we can look at. List of countries by coal reserve. So let's look here. Okay. So geologists, you know the difference between anthracite and bituminous and subbituminous and lignite. So for us, let's just say we choose anthracite and bituminous. Okay. So I'm going to take this data. Let's take all the way to India. Ouch. Is there a way I can copy it and just copy the ones I want? Let me see. I don't know if I can copy just the ones I want. Let's try. Okay. So I'll copy this one up to, no, let's go all the way. Is Nigeria there? No. Nigeria is not one in the top 10%. Let's copy all the way to India. Okay. Then I'm going to try to put it in, I'll call it coal.txt. And I have to arrange it. Unfortunately, what we're doing does not recognize what can we do? We probably can put it in a CSV file, and then we can read it. And then when you read it, yeah, let's do that. Let's put it in a CSV file. So because I'm putting it in a CSV file, I have to change the commas to something else. So I'll create a CSV file. I'll put everything in it. Okay. Okay. I don't want, so this is 20, 220,000. I'll put a point here. So our units, we can look and see what our units are. Or maybe let's not put a point. I'll remove the commas. The rest of data I don't need, so I'll get rid of them. The reason I'm getting rid of them is because I don't want to change and put commas everywhere. Okay. United States, okay. So now I will just put country. Coal. Reserve. Okay. So I'm going to put a comma here, and then a comma here for Russia, a comma here for Australia, a comma here for China, a comma here for India. Okay. So this is all I have. So I'm going to read. Oh, let me move it. Let me call it call.csv. So now I'm going to read the data, and I'm going to do everything we've been learning with it. Okay. So let's do that. So the first thing is I already imported my pandas as PD. If you've not done this, you should do it first. And then I'm going to import matplotlib.py plot as PLT. I think those are the two things I need. So I'm going to do this. In this case, because I've done it before, it doesn't matter. Okay. Then I'm going to read the call data. So I put df call. I call it df call is pd.read. I read the CSV file, and the name of the CSV file is call.csv. It's in the same direction I'm working in. I should press Shift Enter. It reads it. Okay. And then if I want, I can do the head and sorry, df underscore call. Okay. This is not it. So it gives you the country and the core reserves. Exactly what I had. Okay. One good thing about pandas is if you want the average and you want different data about this, you can tell it to describe the data for you, and it will describe the data. So let's try that because I didn't tell you today, but I told you the last time. So let's try to describe the data. I do df.describe, df core dot describe. Okay. So it tells you that there are 5 countries. The mean of the coal is reserve is this. The standard deviation is this. The minimum is this. The 25th percentile is this. 50% percentile, 75% maximum is this. Okay. And that's the highest which the US has. Okay. Okay. The next thing we want to do is we want to plot. Okay. So we are going to put the column, the first column in the as the categories. Okay. And then the values is the second column. So I'll copy this more or less. But I'm going to edit it. And I don't want all these colors, so I'm going to edit out the colors. Okay. So I described it. And then the next thing we'll do is sugar. Did I do? So this is described. And then the next one I do, sorry. This one I did so that we'll do that later. So I'll have this there. The first column that I want is not categories, but I want it to be DF core. And I want the first column. So let's see if this will work. And the first column is country. So I'm just going to put country here. Okay. And then the values are in the second column. So I do df core. So I think it's core reserve. Let's look at it. So it's core underscore res. If you like, you can print df dot column. So to give you colon underscore res. That's the second column. Okay. I don't want all these colors, so I get rid of them. The title. What do I want to do? Okay. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Then I should do something so that nobody can write again. Sorry, I don't want to spend my time on this. Okay, yeah, okay. So then the title, I want it to be core reserves. In what was the unit? In millions of tons. Sure. In millions of tons. And then the label is okay. For the label, you see, one thing I can do is I can do df4 dot column, and I'm going to take the column is column 0. Okay. So I'm going to do this. Now let me see what it plots. I hope I didn't get an error. Uh, because I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, I got an error because I think I need to. So core reserve is a key. So I got an error, and I think it's because of. No, I think I did something wrong. So let me first check something, and so I'll print core reserve. So I'm not sure I can print that. I think I have to use iLock. But there's sometimes you don't have to use iLock. Let me try this. Does it work? No, it doesn't. Okay. So I think I have to use df dot iLock. No dot lock. And then I choose everything in it and this. And I think this should work. Do this work? Uh, Sorry, I'm not sure why this is not working. Because if I do pull and then lock and I do this, in principle, this should tell you and print for you the, no, this is not iLock and this is colorless. Okay, let me print the columns and see, maybe I made a mistake in the name. Sorry. So I do df dots columns. Oh, you see there's a space here. So there's a space here. So this is why it's good to take everything like this. So there's a space there, and that was the problem. So um yeah, so I'm going to replace that by this. Yeah. Unfortunately, when I did it, there was a space. So if I do this now, yeah, so it gives you the bar chart. Okay. United States, Russia, Australia, China, India. Okay. So it printed the bar chart for us. So if you look at the bar chart, you don't have to look at some numbers to see who has the highest. You can easily see now, as you look at the bar chart, that in terms of this bituminous coal, US has the highest. And then after that is China and then India. And then Russia and Australia kind of have the same. Okay. So a bar chart helps you to just see that quickly. I know, if you had looked at this, where's the data? Let me get rid of this. Okay. If you had looked at this, not this, like the data, okay, yeah, you can look at it and see Russia and Australia about the same. China is next to US and then India, but with numbers it's harder to see. But with a bar chart like this, you see quickly. Russia and Australia about the same. China is more than India. US is more than all of them. Okay, so it's easy to see. So this is an advantage of using a bar chart. So I encourage you also when you're doing your presentation, try to use bar charts as much as you can, instead of figures that people have to be reading and fighting with. Okay. So in this case, we read the bar chart. We put the data in a CSV file, and then we read it, okay, into a pandas data frame. And then from the pandas data frame, I printed the columns, and this is one reason why it's good for you to print the columns, because then I wouldn't have known that there was a space here, because I would just think it's called rest, but there's a space, so it's better to grab it from the columns yourself, okay, instead of assuming the name. So I grabbed this. Before I didn't grab it, and that was why it caused the problem. So there's this. The space is there because when I created the file, there was a space. Okay. So the next one we want to do is a histogram. What a histogram does is it makes a count of the frequencies. Okay. So in this case, what we did was to create 1,000 random numbers. And then we are going to put them into 30 bins. Okay. So all the numbers will be there. It's going to put them in the 30 bins in ascending order. Okay. From 0 to, so the numbers are from 0 to 1. Okay. So the number from 0 to 1, you generated 1,000 of them randomly. And then I want to know how many of them are from 0. So it's going to divide 0 to 1 into 30 parts. Then how many of them are from 0 to, so 1 over 30 is 0.0333. Right? Yes. So from 0 to 0.033 is one bin. From 0.033 to 0.0666 is another bin. Then on like that. So it's going to divide it for you itself. So you just give it the data, it's going to divide it, and it's going to count and tell you how many of them are from 0 to 0.033, how many of them are 0.033 to 0.066. So it's kind of like you can have the age of different children. So you have a data frame, you have the names, you have the age. So you can just grab all the ages in the way that we've mentioned, and then you can find a histogram. You want to know how many children are between ages 5 and 6, or how many are between ages 5 and 10. So you can use the binning to do that. So in this case, we created 1,000 random numbers. We bin them into 30, and then we plot. Okay, so you can plot with a histogram this pandas, sorry, matplotlib. It has this feature called histogram, and you can use it to plot the histogram. So if I do shift enter with this one, this is the histogram. Okay, so it created random numbers from, see, I don't even know why. Okay, okay, it created these random numbers, then it binned them. So that's the thing, I have to know why this was a normal distribution. Okay, well, it created this 1,000 numbers, and then it binned them. So from less than -2, you can see how many of them have a value of less than -2. How many of them has a value close to 20, you can see. And it's supposed to be a normal distribution, and you bin them, and it gives you this. Okay, this kind of looks like a normal distribution, but let's generate 10,000. Okay, and then we tell it to plot the normal distribution, and then in that case, you see that it looks more like a normal distribution. Okay, okay, like a Gaussian. Okay, so this is what we get when we do 10,000 of them. Okay, let you see better. So this is a histogram. So you can just have all the ages, and then it's going to group it for you and tell you the frequency. Like in this case, like out of the 10,000 that we generated, more than 1,000 of them, the values were near zero. More than 1,000 of the more than 1,000 and another 1,000, the value more than 1,000, the values were a little less than zero. More than 1,000, the values were a little greater than zero. And then you can use this to know how many the frequency, how many of them had so and so a value or so and so a value. So for instance, a value around here, you can know how many of them had a value. Okay. Okay. The next one I'll tell you about, I don't know so much about it because usually I'll just use matplotlib. Actually, there was one I should have told you about, but maybe I'll tell you another time. I just use matplotlib. Okay. So you can also, it turns out that you can use Seaborn. Okay. You can use Seaborn, and there's a way you can use Seaborn to plot the histogram. Okay. So in here, we imported Seaborn as SNS. Okay. And then we read some file, this Titanic snippet.csv, we read it. And then the age, we created a data frame, and the data frame, the age, we made it numeric. Let me see. Okay, so we read the data frame, and then the age column, we made it numeric, because sometimes if you type something, it may take it as a string instead of numeric. So anyway, it made it numeric, and then we dropped those ones that that are missing. So this drop NA helps you to drop terms that are missing. And then the next thing, we made a plot. Okay, it's a histogram plot, but then SNS has this property that if you set KD equals true, it will plot the, what do you call it? It will plot the distribution. Okay, it will plot the approximate distribution. So it's going to estimate the distribution and plot it for you. Okay, so we did SNS.histplot. It's going to plot a histogram. Okay, this is the histogram that it has plotted. Okay, and there are different options you can use for the histogram. Okay, so there are different options. You can use layer, fill, dodge, stack. I'll let you try those options. And this is the one it has plotted. The orange line or brown line is the one for the females, and the blue one is the one for the males. And it has tried to plot a histogram, and the distribution function for the histogram is what it has also plotted. This is the histogram, and then this distribution function is this KD stuff that it has also plotted, try to plot. Matplotlib doesn't do this, but I think SNS or Seaborn has some features that helps you to be able to give you other information that you want from the data. Okay. I think I want to end by helping you to see that you can plot some other data. Like you can have a scatter plot. And this is one thing that you can do with NumPy. So you can make a data plot data, like say sine x or cosine x or different things like that. You can use, okay, so I'm going to plot it just now, but I want to first. So let me do it the easy way. I'm going to go okay. So the thing I want to plot is kind of, oh yeah, here. Okay, so I'm going to grab this and I'm going to try to use this. Then I'll explain how it's done. Ouch. Um, uh, sorry, hold on. I think if I do this, I should go to okay, paste it there. But it just pasted it in a bad way for me. Sorry. I don't want to type it again, so I just want to be able to copy it and paste it. So I should be able to do this. Um, let me do it for you. So I think I'm doing the right thing. So let's see. Uh, so I don't know why it's okay. So I do this, and then sorry. So I'll do this, and then I'll have this one next. And sorry. So I need this. So it's giving me this once. And I think I'll just do the simple one. Okay. So I create the numbers from 0 to 10, but I split the space from 0 to 10 into 100, and I'm going to take the sign of it. Okay. So all this number x, if I print it, there'll be 100 of it from 0 to 10 data points. Okay. And then I'm going to take the sign of it. I'll put it in this variable by sign. And I'm going to take the cosine of it. I'll put it in this variable cosine. Then I can use matplotlib. So I can use matplotlib to plot it. So I'll do plt or plot y sine, okay, and x, okay. So it's going to plot this data, this sine, okay. So it plotted the sine against, sorry, I think I made a mistake. I have to put x first, okay, because that's on the x-axis, and then sine, okay. So it's going to plot it, okay. And then I can plot the other one also, the cosine one. And it's going to plot both of them together on the same plot. Okay, not one after the other. Okay, so plotted both of them together on the same plot. If you like, you can do a grid that I think is this. And oh, I think it's just plt.grid. Let's see. Okay. So it show the grid, and you can put a legend and title and x-axis and y-axis. They are written in the introduction that I sent to you. Okay. So you can plot the sine and x also. If you like, you can plot the sine with a symbol. Ouch. I can plot it with a symbol. So let's use a symbol 0, O, a marker O. Okay. So if I go there, you see that they plotted the sine with O's, with O like that. Okay. And the X, if you like, you can plot it with X. Okay. I think you have to use double quotes. I'm not sure. Okay. So you plotted it with X's. Okay. Okay. So I think this is a good place to end. And if you have any questions, then I can address it. We can arrange a time you can ask the questions. I've sent you this document, which the title is Introduction to Python for Data Science. It's a 3 to 4 hour tutorial, so I sent it to you already. So I can send you this Python notebook, Jupyter notebook, and then you can take a look at everything in it. The data that I use for the countries and coal reserve, you can get it yourself, but also I can give it to you just now. I can drop it for everybody. Yeah, it's called coal.csv. I drop it in the chat. Okay. So then I can send this file. Actually, I can send the file to everybody now. So you have the file also. You can pick it up via okay. Um okay. So I send the file to you so you can download it now. And I can send it also to Miss Taiwo for everybody. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. And I hope you have a good weekend. And one good way to learn more is by doing projects. And okay, great. One good way to learn is by doing projects. So if I have some projects I want us to work on together, I think I'll let you know and Taiwo know, and then we can work on these projects together. This will help you to develop more skills in it, and maybe even publish a paper. This would be good. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Yeah. So I stop share. I should be able to give